Welcome back. This is the last lesson in week 19 and I want to revisit get and set procedures, which are, if you remember, a feature of encapsulation. So in this lesson I'll just review what the difference is between private and public attributes of a class. We'll look at an example program using public attributes and then do the same task but using private attributes accessed by get and set procedures, and then I'll set you an activity to program on your own. So just to remind you, in pseudocode, attributes can be made private. This means they can't be changed in the main program, and instead we write get and set procedures. In Python, we can't make attributes private, but we can of course write get and set procedures as if the attributes were private, and that's a good way of learning how get and set procedures work. So that's what we're going to do today. Here's an example. This is the class definition for a class called student, and objects of the student class have three attributes: a first name, a surname, and a list of courses. That will start as an empty list, and then there's a method that lets you enroll students on the course. So here is a Python constructor with the features that we've been talking about: first name, surname, and a list of courses. You'll also see that I've added a string, triple quote mark string, at the start of the constructor to remind me of the attributes of the class. Whenever we write a class definition, we usually in Python write a string procedure, string function, and this returns a string which we're going to use every time the computer needs to represent the object, print the object. And it seems like a good idea to have the first name and then a space and then the surname, and that will be the string that represents the student, their name basically. So write the class definition. If you need support, you can scroll back and look at the examples that I've given, or you can just try and do it from memory. Write a program that creates an instance of the student class. You can call this instance test. Enter the name of 3 courses and append these courses to the course list for this student, and then complete the program by printing the student name and the list of courses that the student is enrolled on. So this doesn't use get and set procedures. It's very plain object-oriented programming. So obviously we're going to amend the program in a moment. So pause the video, write a program to match what I've written on the screen there. If you get stuck, scroll backwards at the examples. In a moment or two, we're going to continue with the activities, so make sure you catch up before you press play. So here is the main program. You already saw the class definition on the previous slide. So you enter a first name and a second name, create a student with first name and surname as parameters, and then loop 3 times, each time entering a course and appending it to the course list, and then we're printing it out and also printing the list of courses. So I hope your program worked. If it didn't, copy this example. And now we're going to continue looking at how we can do the same thing using get and set procedures. Things like this, lines like this, will have to be replaced. Here we're appending a course to the list of courses, but if they're set as a private procedure, or if we've agreed to use them as a private procedure, we can't access them directly in the main program. Neither can we print out the list of courses. So if courses is treated as a private attribute, those two lines are going to have to change. So make sure your program's working correctly, and then now we're going to change it. So we've got to write get and set procedures. Write a procedure called set course that appends a new course to the course list, and write a function called get course that returns the list of courses, and then change that main program to use the set course and get course procedure instead of accessing the list of courses directly as an attribute. So that is an example of encapsulation. Once again, I'm asking you to have a go at doing this. In a minute, we'll continue and look at how we might go about fulfilling that. So pause the video, leave this up on the screen, and just try and do those activities. And when you're ready, press play again. So here are set and get procedures. They're pretty straightforward. Set courses takes the name of the course as a parameter and appends it to the list of courses. Doesn't have to return anything or print anything. It just adds to the list of courses. And the get procedure just returns the list of courses. So they don't do much. They just allow you to access the attributes through procedures, get and set procedures. And hopefully you've written a main program. Let's look at how you had to adapt that program to use get and set procedures. First of all, where you're appending a course to the list of courses, we use the set course procedure. So that sets a new course, adds it to the course list instead of just adding it in the main program. And when we need to print out the list of courses, we're using a get procedure to return the list of courses, and then we're printing out that list. You could condense that into a single line if you wanted to. So you can see that we've had to change the program just a little to use get and set procedures instead of accessing the course list directly. And this is how encapsulation works. So go back to this program that you've hopefully now completed. If you haven't got it working, you can simply copy the code that I've shown you and add a new attribute to the student constructor called mobile number and make that an empty string when the student enrolls. Then create get and set procedures that allow you to view and add the values for this attribute, and use these in the main program so that as well as entering the 3 courses for the student, we enter their mobile phone number, and then at the end of the program, when we print out the student, the course list, and then print out their mobile number, and use encapsulation for this. So this week we've done quite a lot of study of features of object-oriented programming. We've looked a couple of times at encapsulation and how we use get and set procedures to work with attributes that have been set to private. And in other lessons we looked at what polymorphism is and what inheritance is. So you should understand what all the terms shown on this page mean. And if you're not clear about any of them, go back and re-watch the lesson that's about that topic. Okay, that's it. Bye for now.